Hello friends, welcome back to Mashofreaks Auto. Currently you are watching Jimny book series where we talk about everything about Jimny. So today we are going to talk about a very important and crucial topic, which is an issue with the Jimny, and this is very well known issue. You can read about this particular issue in many of the forums. Some of the people are not either very much aware about it or do not have a much understanding about this particular issue. So what I thought is, so let me just capture that. Among so many known issues with the Jimny, one of the critical issue is that propeller shaft is rubbing against the cross member of the vehicle. Now, the question is, what is propeller shaft and what is cross member? And once you have the understanding about the propeller shaft and the cross member, then you will be having a fair understanding how critical it is and how it can damage the different parts of the vehicle in a longer term. Maybe in a shorter term, it is not that big issue, but sooner or later, probably you can see those issues with your vehicle as well. Don't think the issue is not there with your vehicle right now. That doesn't mean that you are not going to face actually later in some stages. Before understanding the function of the propeller shaft and the cross member, we need to understand how critical it is. Once any of the related part related to this particular issue in the drivetrain get broken or get damaged, for example, in that situation, your vehicle definitely gets stuck in the middle of the road. You will not be able to move your vehicle in the forward or the reverse direction. This is the least likely a case the big damage will happen. But in the longer term, definitely there will be some consequences due to that. It is going to cost you something actually in the future. So what I'm going to discuss in this particular video is the two things. One is what exactly the issue and how this can impact your vehicle in a shorter term, in the longer term. Also going to give a demonstration of those parts where actually this is happening and which part can be affected. The first time I saw this issue actually in March 2024. When I noticed this particular issue, I checked that and why this is happening, and I reported this with the Suzuki. But the next people actually, they are not very, I don't want to say they're not very friendly, but most of the people are not very much aware about this vehicle itself, at least at the service center end. So what I did is I actually report this issue directly to Suzuki. Currently I'm in a mail trail with the Suzuki and waiting for some solution. Many enthusiasts and many people from the different forums or different owner of the vehicle actually waiting a solution for this. So as I said, this issue is the propeller shaft which is rubbing against the cross member, and that happens in certain conditions. And propeller shaft sometimes touches very slightly with cross member, and sometimes actually it bangs like this, and both of these conditions are not good. So let's first understand what is the meaning of the propeller shaft and what is the meaning of the cross member. So as you know, this vehicle is a ladder-on frame chassis where basically body is mounted on the top of chassis, right? So what is chassis here? There are two frames which are parallel to two sides of tires. For example, this tire, the right side, this tire, left side, and parallel to that, there are two steel frames which are actually going in this way. But these two frames actually connected with some small frames which are like this, right? For example, this frame are connected with frame here, then frame here, and frame here, because this is a length actually. So the job of the cross member is just to connect two different frames to make a single chassis. And you can see multiple such kind of cross members in one particular chassis. So this is a fundamental construction of any of the chassis and how basically the chassis are designed normally, right? So cross member is that part. And now you can simply see this cross member is a fixed part. It is not moving part. So propeller shaft is one of the heaviest part which is getting rotated under the body, under the chassis, under vehicle, which actually give the motion to the rear wheels. Forget about 4x4. The Jimny is all-time rear wheel drive. That means the rear wheel of the vehicle actually get most of the power in two-wheel drive, so your vehicle can move forward or in case of reverse, right? So how that power is getting transferred from engine to gearbox or the transmission box, from the transmission box or the gearbox with the help of drive shaft, the power transfer to a transfer case. Then from transfer case, there is a propeller shaft, and that propeller shaft actually connected with the rear differential. And once the power in the rear differential, the power is transferred to the rear wheels, which results to move your vehicle in the forward direction or the reverse direction. So that is the job of the whole drivetrain. In that particular drivetrain, the propeller shaft is the biggest moving part which rotates and gives the motion to the rear differential before it is getting transferred to the tires. So that is a very crucial component. So where is the issue? For example, this is a chassis. This is the front part of the chassis where engine is mounted. This is the center part of the chassis where actually the transfer case is. My what? For example, this is a differential case, right? And at the both side of the rear differential, there are two tires. One is here, other is here. And drive shaft is actually moving here below this particular chassis, between this transfer case and between this differential, like this, right? And what happens is, a normal behavior of this propeller shaft is to rotate. Whenever there is a bump, this particular shaft also move up and down. You know, your vehicle actually does so many maneuvers, sometime up and down, sometime left and right, like this on the suspension, right? There are so many things which basically need to face by your vehicle. So the drive shaft, whenever there is a bump, there's a big bump comes, what happens is, the distance between this drive shaft and the chassis become lesser, especially during bumps and those situations. For example, your vehicle is fully loaded and there's a lot of load there actually. Due to that particular load, your rear suspension definitely has to compress to some level, right? When it compresses, the distance between that particular propeller shaft and the cross member become lesser and lesser. And if there's a big bump in that situation, that actually hit like that. When during the rotation, it actually hit to the cross member, and it hit to a cross member on a particular spot. That's the reason sometime the propeller shaft, you can see there's a bangle sign there. But with some vehicles, suppose that did hit to that level actually, maybe it is not a perfect bangle sign, maybe some little scratches there, not a full bangle sign on the propeller shaft. So that is very critical. Why it is critical? See, it is not critical because of the cross member. The cross member is getting damaged. No, it is more critical for the propeller shaft itself. And it is also critical for the other parts which are connected with the propeller shaft. You know, the propeller shaft have the coupling on the both sides. This is one particular rod. For example, this rod. This is actually connected with the differential here, right? And this is also connected here with the transfer case. And there is a coupling here. To some level, those coupling actually give some space, so this propeller shaft can move little bit up and down, right? But sometime, if suppose during those rotation, when it is giving a space up and down, that time, if this particular propeller shaft hit to the chassis here, this way, right? So maybe that damage can be a bigger damage. It depends upon how much of impact there is. So during that propeller shaft actually rub to the cross member, there may be two different consequences, which is basically a minor impacts, which actually can lead to some minor scratches on the propeller shaft, which is not a point of worry. But sometime if there is a big bang happen, or it will be a big blow, so for example, right, in that particular big blow, some components can be damaged instantly, or maybe in the longer term, it is not good for the transfer case as well as for the differential as well, including the propeller shaft. And this is the issue with the entire drivetrain, you can say. And definitely this is a design issue. For example, you are driving in the city roads, you are driving on the highways, and sometimes you do some off-roads. In that situation also, you will not see this particular issue. But in which situations basically we probably can see this particular issue? Let me tell you. So one condition is, for example, your vehicle is loaded with so much of weight. Maybe it is just permissible weight only, and you actually cross a speed breaker at the high speed because you didn't see that particular speed breaker on time, for example. In that case, definitely your vehicle is going to go in this way, right? So if that is going to go in this way, especially the rear suspension also behave like this. It will compress, right? When it will compress, for example, this is a propeller shaft and this is a cross member, they probably can hit like this. That will happen for the fraction of seconds maybe. But think about that. If that blow is too loud, it may damage the propeller shaft. It may also damage the coupling where actually it is connected. It may also damage the coupling with the differential. And if this will happen for the longer time, for the longer period, and you didn't notice that, maybe it leads to some faults in your transfer case or in your differential box. And trust me, both the things are very, very costly items. If you talk about the entire drivetrain, that is more costlier than engine, because drivetrain actually covers a lot of things actually below. And due to some reason, suppose your drive shaft or the transfer case or the coupling with the transfer case or the coupling with the differential case is broken, trust me, your vehicle is not going to go anywhere in that particular case. Entire rear wheel drive system actually work with that particular Propeller shaft. So this is a reason, this is something critical and you should know, you should be aware about. If you see those signs, even though these signs are minor, not the full bangle sign, in that situation also you should report it. So let's quickly talk about the possible solution to this particular problem, because as on date all the Jimnys, if they are not badly modified already, are under the warranty. So everybody qualify to have the solution from Suzuki itself. So what Suzuki going to give you actually? So possibly they may redesign or readjust the position of the transfer case, the position of the differential, and readjust the Propeller shaft, which is the least likely case. They will not do it. This is a big design change and this is very tough thing to do, because doing so Suzuki have to put lots of efforts in redesigning. So they possibly will not do this. The other possible solution is, see, the cross member always like this, right? जैसे वो धनुष्मान होता है ना, धनुष होता है. So cross member is the shape of bow, right? But this is a thick component, right? Like this. So what they can do is they can make a skinny cross member but with the same capability, with the same strength, and they can refit that cross member into the vehicle. Again, there is an issue. See, designing that cross member is not a big issue, but changing that cross member is a big effort. This is not a small change. This is again going to be a design change in terms of chassis. Changing the design of the chassis is again a very big effort. Manufacturing that component is not a big effort, but testing and designing that particular cross member in a particular vehicle, which is a thinner one with the equal strength or the more strength, actually that's a big challenge. Again, probably Maruti or Suzuki will not do this. So one of the easiest and better solution is probably they can actually put some bigger springs with the better steels, but with the good flexibility. The strength should be good, and they also need to change the dampener, which is the shockers behind, right? So this is the easiest change actually they can do, but again for that they have to do a lot of testing. But the good thing about this particular change is the actual implementation will not take much time. It is very similar to the lift kit you do. And suppose your vehicle is already warranty when you are watching this particular video and you want to fix this particular, maybe the good lift kit actually give you a solution to handle this particular issue. It depends on if that issue is actually being considered within that lift kit, and this particular issue get fixed when we actually add on this particular lift kit. As per my understanding, Suzuki is already working on this particular issue and probably they will come up with some solution in some time, and not sure how they are actually going to recall the vehicle. If they recall all the vehicle, which is very good. If they will not recall all the vehicle, then it's a point of worry. Maybe they actually recall a particular batch, and in that situation, if your vehicle is already registered with this particular problem and your vehicle is not lying into that particular batch, in that case probably you will be qualified to get this problem fixed by Suzuki, even though you will be out of warranty that time, because you have raised this particular issue very in advance and there was no solution with Suzuki at that time, which means you already reported the issue. So now this is a time for action. Let's go under the vehicle and see that. I also need to change the t-shirt actually. So let's go, my friends. Because it's a small place here actually, I don't have a luxury to show you by lifting this vehicle on the hydraulics. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go below this vehicle and will show you where exactly the issue is and what are the all affected possible components due to this particular issue. So let's go and check that. Now I'm going to go under this chimney. So I'm going to use this particular mat. So my friend, this is differential and this one is a propeller shaft, you can see. And here this propeller shaft is connected further to transfer case. And this is the transfer case. You can see this one is. And this transfer case is further connected with your gearbox and your front differential. Using this particular shaft with your gearbox here. So this is a gearbox and this is a drive shaft here connected with the transfer case, and from the transfer case itself there is another shaft which is going to further you can see, to the front differential, right? So once the power is there, actually in this particular transfer case, it transfer using this propeller shaft to the rear differential, you can see, and from the rear differential the power actually goes to two different wheels, this and this, right? So this is how actually it works. Now issue is this sign, you can see, right? This is a bangle sign, 360 sign around this propeller shaft. This propeller shaft actually touching somewhere. Let me just try to show you if I can do that. Yeah, you can see that point. Can you see that? There's a one point where it is touching. So in some extreme cases, it is touching there. It is not a point of worry instantly, but for the longer term, it may damage this propeller shaft, and probably there are least chances to damage this propeller shaft, but when it forces the propeller shaft, it actually forces this particular joint here of differential and this particular coupling, you can see. It actually forces this particular coupling, and somehow it can also do some internal damages in this transfer case. I know this is least likely case, but if this will happen, this is going to be very critical, and in the longer term, definitely it affects your vehicle. I don't want to say it is urgent, but I just want to say this is critical. This has to be addressed. So my friends, hopefully you have seen. So there are some damages here. If somebody will say, come to me and say this is not critical, I will not be agree with that at all. This is critical longer term, because it is not just in a couple of years or 3 years you want to keep this vehicle and just within the warranty period, but most of the people actually want to keep this vehicle for a longer period, 10 years, 50 years, and maybe more, depends on the huge amount of money they are investing. Then I think this is not acceptable. If you are agree with me, we should raise each and every case with Suzuki India, irrespective of how many YouTube channels, how many open forums, how many public forums actually raising this particular issue. So we should raise it actually ourselves, because you never know what's the price basically you are going to get in future, and probably after warranty nobody is going to entertain you for this particular issue. So let's raise it now. So hopefully my friends, you like this video, you enjoy this video. If you enjoy this video, like this video, share this video with your nears and dears, subscribe my channel. Currently you are watching Jimny Cookbook series, where we talk about everything about Jimny. So this is the time to go. I'll see you next time in next video. Bye bye.